Yo, welcome to the Full Charge Power Hour. I am Matt Fulcheron. I got Craig Coleman here.
Hey now.
I got Matt Braunger here. Before we get started, patreon.com/the Full Charge. Give us $1, $1.50, $3.
Whoa, generous.
$975. I think the podcast is worth it at this point. Come see me. I'm doing a low-key, is that what the kids call it?
Sure.
NorCal tour. Now, it's very spread out. I'm going to be in Crescent City, California, July 13th, San Francisco, California, July 23rd, and San Luis Obispo, August 30th to 31st. So there's plenty of time to recoup between dates and come see me at all three. Matt, do you want to plug any dates or anything?
Sure. I got a little mini East Coast run July 18th at they're all City Winery. City Winery in New York City, and then July 19th, Boston City Winery has 2 shows there. And then July 20th, bringing it all home. July, let's say 19th, then 20th at Philly. Yeah, Philly City Winery.
Nice.
So, which I'm psyched that the Jake Paul, Mike Tyson thing got rescheduled because I wanted to see the spectacle in arguably the angriest city in all 50 states.
Oh, dude, if you want to see a sporting event, especially on this one, on a boxing match, because it's not your state or your city. It's not.
Right.
You don't. My wife, when we lived in New York, was always like, let's go down to Philadelphia and watch a Saints game.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, we can do that. But you ain't wearing your shit.
No.
You ain't wearing
God,
your
no.
gear.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, we can't win if we don't wear the gear. And it's like, well, then we're going to stay here and wear the gear.
They power lift chips on their shoulders there.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Not everybody, but people there know it. I literally just reposted, I don't know if you follow the Hard Times News. They're they're kind of like The Onion, but they're kind of like little bit more edge. They're kind of like punk rock based, but like real tongue in cheek. And it was like this one of those pictures from like a travel website or something.
Yeah.
And it's like the 15 most beautiful places in Philadelphia to get your ass kicked.
It's such
like
a
you're going
funny...
on Eater or something.
Yeah.
What a lovely... Oh, God.
Yeah, I was like, honey, here's some footage in Philly when they win.
Yeah. Oh,
you know,
yeah.
they win and they
Shit's
act
on
like
fire.
they lost.
Yeah. And there's that robot. That robot that they Hitcherbot or whatever.
What is that?
It's hitchhiked. It's a robot, and it hitchhiked across the country and then got stomped to death in Philadelphia. Stomped to bits.
And
Oh my
it made
God.
it through I don't know how many states. I think it started on the West Coast.
Yeah.
It went all the way across Canada multiple times, and then they tried in the U.S.
Even worse.
It went East Coast to Philly.
God.
Yeah.
Canada, there were just beautiful, wonderful people putting him in the back of the pickup or whatever on a horse. It's just like if there were like a Pixar movie that the very ending was X for violence.
Yeah, it's like Easy Rider, but a robot.
It's the Easy Rider of Pixar. Would you cut your hair? Would you fuck yourself?
Philly's so crazy because it's the most amazing city. I love walking around.
It's incredible.
I love the people.
The history.
When you get them in a group, though, they're fucking crazy.
It's one of those things where it's like there's a level of pride to it, which I respect.
Right.
I respect. You know, like I've never had a bad show I can think of in Philly, but I've been heckled almost every time. Mostly good-naturedly.
Yeah.
You know, where I'm just like, I'm trying to gather my thoughts, and like some guy will be like, anytime, like in the back. It always happens. Like you will get heckled in Philly.
I did a show. I was opening for Tosh like 12 years ago or so. It's a huge show, right?
Yeah.
And I'm killing.
Yeah.
But there's one guy in the front row just being like, nice suit, dickhead. That one,
Oh, man.
that one wasn't as good, was it?
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, you lost him there. Like, so.
So it's your own brain talking to you.
It's your own insecurities through a guy eating a cheesesteak.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, but he's in the front row.
Oh, God.
And I'm the only one that can hear him.
Yeah, that's why. Like I always sit in the front row.
So it's like, there's no point in stopping. And it's my job to be the warm-up act. I just gotta put the pedal to the floor and just take it straight through Upper Darby.
Yeah.
You know, but
the best compliment you get opening in like a show like that is you'll be out in the lobby or whatever, and they'll be like, "You're better than I thought." You're better than I thought the opener was
yeah,
going to
yeah.
be. You know what I mean?
I did a set in Philly one time, and afterwards the guy goes, "Thanks for coming to Philly," and or he said something that I forget what it was. Something like, you know, glad you're here or something. I go, thank you. And he goes, that wasn't a compliment. I forget what he said, but like, you know how like after someone says something at a show, you automatically just go, thank you.
Yeah.
He was like, yeah, I wasn't complimenting you. I was just saying like, hello.
Welcome.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like, thanks.
I have this theory that they're, and I say this with love, Philly. You're probably one of my top 10 cities. I love Philadelphia. I used to go there when I was younger, and I just fucking love it so much. But I think they have abandonment issues because I think they came up with democracy.
Yes.
And then democracy was like, cool, we're going to D.C.
Well,
and they were like, what about us?
It's not just D.C. It's the triumvirate. It's D.C., New York, Boston.
Well,
those are the cities everybody talks about.
Yeah.
And everybody kind of just forgets about Philadelphia just because of the proximity.
Yeah.
But it's a fucking incredible town.
That's what I was going to say. And then they were like, but we'll be culture then. Fine, take your democracy. We'll be culture. And then New York City's like, no, we got culture.
yeah.
We got commerce.
Yeah.
Eat shit, Philly.
Yeah.
You know, eat cheese whiz, Philly.
Yeah. And then they're like, well, then we got racism. And Boston's like, no, that's us. Hey, guys, come on. I'm kidding.
That's about right. But anyways, come
I
see
love
Matt in
Boston.
Philly.
My wife's from Boston. I know you're not racist.
Those are all places like where you develop an act, and you know, you started in Chicago.
Yeah.
But a lot of our development was in Los Angeles, and you're like,
God.
okay, I'm a good comedian now. And then you go to Boston, and then you go to Philly, and you find out you got a lot of work to do.
A lot of work. Because
Yeah.
there's somebody there, a good number of people that just destroy. You know, that's the thing. You go to Boston, you just see these guys just, you know, just take a machine gun to the crowd.
Yeah.
You know, and like, yeah, just crushed so hard.
And you need subtitles, like you don't even know what the guy's saying.
Right. Yeah,
And
the local reference.
They also, New England doesn't even really hire outside comics that much.
No.
In other words, you don't get a lot of guys from New York
Lenny
going up to
Clark
Boston.
is just constant circuit.
People in New England,
Wow.
Boston, Connecticut, Rhode Island, they
Yeah.
don't really hire the outside. They got enough guys who don't want to leave.
Yeah.
And that audience is there. They love.
They love
And-
seeing that guy over and over.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've been working my ass off doing this social media. I'm actually finally enjoying it because of this podcast, because of these cameras.
Right.
You could
sure.
just like, I don't give a fuck about the downloads. I mean, rate, review, subscribe, share, all that shit. But I love just finally having something that I can put online that
Right.
doesn't burn my material.
Fair.
Yeah.
With-
I basically like just pump shit out. Like my last hour, I didn't even put an hour out. I just chopped it up and just put it out.
Right.
You know, I post stand up about twice a week.
Yeah.
And so I'm just like, all right, I'm just going to write more. So I
Yeah.
just write more. And I try to get a little looser on stage, not really crowd work, just because I'm a little, as much as like, yeah, okay, you do crowd work because, you know, you don't want to burn material. It's like, yeah, but maybe just burn the material you can't do in a couple months. I can't do, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I got a bit going up about that Quiet on the Set documentary because
Right.
I was on iCarly.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, this won't live on a special in like 5 or 6 years. Hey, remember that guy who was a borderline child
Right,
molester? Like,
right,
no one
right,
wants to
right.
hear about that again.
Yeah.
You know, so like it's about kind of just for me, just being choosy about what I share, what I
Right.
don't share. Yeah, there's shit I'll save and stuff, but I'm not gonna be that person that all they post is crowd work
Oh man.
because I'm too sensitive. I will do shows and I start doing crowd work and maybe it does okay, but it's like I've like I remember. It's a long extrapolation if you bear with me. I remember being in Chicago and I was at Improv Olympic upstairs in an improv class. And downstairs there was an actual show going on. You know, they started the night shows and I was like, whoa, like that team downstairs is destroying.
Yeah.
These people are laughing so hard. And I went downstairs and the team was doing a bit where one guy was doing wacky shit and the rest of the team was laughing like, like that. And the audience looked like they were at a funeral. I've seen, and I was like, I couldn't get out of there fast enough.
Right.
'Cause it's like they made a choice and fucking ate it.
Yeah.
I have seen guys in rooms where there's hardly anyone in the audience, but this comic, I'm not shitting you, has 4 cameramen.
Oh my God.
Men filming people's faces for all this shit to use clips, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? The point of stand-up is so people can feel like alone in the darkness and a community and laugh at the person who under the lights, you and me.
Yeah.
This is not, stop putting people's goddamn faces on your thing.
Seriously.
There's two people I want to see do crowd work, and one of them's Ian Bagg.
Yeah.
And the other one's Ian Bagg. That's my guy. And then after
Dude,
that, I don't really care.
Like I can count them on one hand, and I'll just get to two names.
Yeah.
Ian Bagg, Rick Ingram.
Right. Because
Rick Ingram,
I knew there was two. Did you hear me do two? I just went two for Ian
I
Bagg.
thought you were
But
gonna say
that's
Rick.
the other guy. Yeah.
But it's like and a lot of people are really good at it. And I'm sure I'm leading a lot of people, and there are people who I think. Gianmarco Ceresi is good in New York. You know, there's a good amount of people that are decent at it, but I've just never. I will say this: biggest compliment I can say to a comedian is I fucking hate following them. I hate following Rick. Hate following Rick at the store. You know, I hate but love following Fahim Anwar because he's so fun.
Right.
You know, and like he's like a toy. Everyone's like, oh, this guy's he's a fun. He's like Sebastian. He's a dancer.
Right.
You know.
Right.
But like, well, Rick, she'll just do like, like
he tears the room wide,
just shreds it
open. And there's nothing left for you.
And then people are like, well, now you talk to me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not saying anything.
I don't
work on my material.
I don't want to talk to you.
Yeah, no.
I don't like talking to people. I don't like making eye contact.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy. And I don't know where I find myself doing it at the Comedy Store at 1 a.m.
Yeah.
Where it's like you
have to
do
wake
it.
them up a little.
But the problem is they've already done 3 hours of it.
Yeah.
And they're like, we already said I work at fucking Dell. And they
Yeah,
already made all
yeah.
the
They
Dell
asked me that
computer
already.
jokes. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
But the point with the social media is like I did a good job of staying away from it.
Yeah.
And that's an awesome thing. I have some self-control. I can put the phone on the other side of the room.
That's good.
I can turn the phone off.
Yeah.
Now that I'm putting all this work into these clips,
Yeah.
I'm just like sneaking in.
Oh,
Come see how it goes.
Yeah.
It's all of a sudden my entire life. And then there's certain times
Yeah.
that there's recommended to post. And so that's on Monday and Tuesday. I've looked this up. It's like 9 o'clock in the morning. That means I'm breaking one of my rules. I have a rule where I don't look at the phone until I've done some writing, until I've had some coffee. I don't look at my emails. I don't look at social media. And now here I am. I'm on the phone from go. I'm like, oh, it's 9:05. I better post.
Do you think there's like an Orthodox Jewish person that is like, you know, what's it, the Sabbath? You cannot toil. You can't do anything.
Yeah.
And it's like you get this ping.
I'm-
Post today.
I guarantee you.
Off in the
I
bathroom.
guarantee-
That's got to be a struggle, man.
I guarantee he walks it over to his neighbor's house and says, "Will
Could
you
you do
look?
this?
Will you?" No, he'll say, "Will you look at this?"
Oh, no.
like I'm saying, like he lives in a neighborhood where I don't know if you've ever lived in a neighborhood.
No, but I mean post or
Right.
shoot or whatever.
right,
Like,
right,
they
right.
gotta, you know.
Yeah, I'm saying you get a ping and you go talk to a regular civilian, like a Christian or something. Be like, "Hey, can you read this
Yeah.
tweet about me?
Yeah,
to
yeah.
me because I can't look at this."
can't- oh
Has
my
that, that's
God.
never happened to you. Like you live. I had a friend who lived in a neighborhood where there was a lot of Hasidic Jewish people,
Yeah,
and
no.
they come over and be like, "Hey, can you turn on the TV for us? Like it's Saturday."
Really?
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Come
No.
over. Yeah, that'd be so weird.
I was in the Beverly District once, and I got like it was the funniest. I've talked to Jewish friends about this. I got surrounded by young ones, and I was like, "What?" And I've been jumped before. You know that feeling when there's guys in front of you and guys behind you, and you're like, "Well,
Yeah.
I hope you're just like, I hope this doesn't last too long.
Yeah.
There's no getting out of this.
And I hope no
I'm
one's
not
filming this.
I'm not Chuck Norris.
Yeah,
I'm going
right.
to try to get away.
You're fucked anyways.
But yeah.
It looks like a hate crime
You're
if you're winning.
surrounded. I can't hit back. But the guy in the front just like, and he's just so young. They're like 20 nothing, like 21, 22. And he's just like, "Can I ask you something?" And I was like, "Gee." And the guy was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Are you Jewish?" And I was like, "No, actually, I like." Where was I going with the actually? First off,
Sure.
You know, I was saying like I grew up with a lot of Jewish people, and so I've been to a lot to bar mitzvahs, bar mitzvahs, la la la. I was gonna give them the whole background, but as soon as I was like, "No," they were
Right.
gone, just
Yeah, yeah,
dispersed. They went to different areas.
Yeah.
So it was like they like cited me, and I've talked to Nick Kroll about this. I've talked to a couple other Jewish friends about this, and they're just like, "Oh yeah. If you said yes, they would shame you. They'd just be like, why don't you? Why are you rejecting the faith? Why aren't you like this?"
I
You
always
know?
thought it was a friendly thing because people ask me all the time
Mm-hmm.
because, You know, I have kind of like a north.
Dude, it did not
look.
feel like they surrounded me.
Yeah.
Dude, that's not friendly.
Right.
It's rare that someone's like, excuse me.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, man. Listen, we
Right.
got the new. You're like, oh shit.
Where's your birthday cake, asshole?
Flowers.
What the fuck's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Usually I just say no, and I might not know what holiday it is, but I say happy holiday.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
One time recently, maybe a year or two, I was in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, and home of Sugarburg.
Oh, okay.
And this dude comes up to me. He's like, "Are you Jewish?" And I go, "No." And he goes, "Are you sure?" And I go, "Yeah." He goes, So is your mother Jewish?" And I'm like, "Look, dude,
That's the
I'm
definition of being Jewish. Like what?
I'm telling you, I grew up Catholic.
Yes.
Like, I don't know. He just wanted me to be Jewish so bad, but
Wow.
yeah, he must have not been able to.
He probably just wanted someone to hang out with.
Maybe.
You know.
I always take it as a compliment.
Oh,
like,
100%.
Like you could be hanging with us
Sure,
if
you could be in my
wanted
crew.
to.
That's
you know?
nice. It's a nice feeling.
Yeah.
I remember being in Chicago and walking around with my headphones on. I'm like a disc man. I remember I was listening to The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill.
Right.
As I was like, it just come out. I'm like, this is a banger. And I was walking back from the bar I worked at. I just did like a dumb lunch shift. And like a guy like comes out of a bar and he looks at me and he's like, "Hey, what are you listening to?" And I'm like, a lot of stuff. Like, I'm not going to tell you, man. You don't care. You're a grizzled white guy. And he goes, "So what are you doing? You want to go drink? You want to hang out?" And I'm like, I remember being like, no, man, I'm going to get on the train. And, you know, I went in the red line and went home. But like, it's just drunk and lonely.
Yeah.
Just want to make a friend.
Yeah.
You know?
That thing. What's so weird to me about I'm getting back to the social media here.
Please.
Is
I keep steering this car through the underbrush. You're
know
like,
what?
let's get back on the highway.
You know what I love about what you're doing is I have a hard time filling an hour of podcast, and you just keep bringing me so much good goddamn content.
I'm pretty frenetic. I like
and
these.
I'm so glad you're here.
It's honestly, it's like the one compliment I've really dug is that like when people are like, you're good on podcasts, because I really work hard to listen and don't step on anybody.
Right.
But if I have an idea that I'm like, ooh, I think this is funny and this will help.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
See,
I don't have any agenda. I don't
Yeah.
have this thing. We're not on some fucking comedy panel in front of a live studio audience fighting to
Thank
be
God.
funny.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
no, this is for no offense out there, but this is for the lonely people doing their lonely activities.
Yeah. This
You know.
this is for people working all day, driving. I always said,
Shouts out to everybody cleaning their house right now. You're
fucking
doing the
A.
right thing.
You're doing
That's
it,
right.
man. And shout out if you're laying on the goddamn couch drunk.
That's
Who
good
cares?
too. That's
Like,
zen. Yeah.
Yeah. I always said the thing that people missed about podcasts in the beginning, and now everybody understands, is that podcasts keep you company.
Yeah.
You know, without being intrusive.
Right.
You know,
Yeah,
like
you can cut them off at any time.
anytime you want. You're listening, and you're not alone.
Yeah, and that's why people get mad if you put out a bad episode. They'll be like, "What the fuck, man?
Yeah.
Like this is my Monday.
I
You
look forward
fucked up my ride to work."
Yeah, dude, it's tough. Those ones that come out. I remember, like, you know, I like I have my little handful, and like I like Armchair Expert, you know, with Dax Shepard.
right.
And every Monday, that's the star one. That's the one where
sure.
a big movie star comes on, or a legend comes on, and it's just like, it's crazy that he has like Kevin Costner on this week, and I'm sure part of him is like, don't blow this. Don't
I
blow this,
know.
Kevin. You know, he has what, like 75 Oscars or something crazy? You know, like.
Think about what a movie star is going through these days.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
like,
they don't exist.
they used to.
They're-
Well,
they're-
right, they
It's
don't
like Last
exist.
of the Mohicans.
A leftover movie star though, like Kevin Costner.
Right.
So he went through a period where maybe he's hearing a little gossip here and there. Like maybe his publicist is
yeah,
like,
now
"Hey,
everyone's
people
like-
are saying this." Now Kevin Costner, who used to be in an isolated bubble, has people like, "Yo, Bull Durham fucking
Yeah.
sucks, bro." You know, I hated fucking the Untouchables too.
Yeah,
like they're just coming after you on stuff
everybody
you
has
thought was good.
If you look for it,
Yeah.
you will find everybody's voice.
Oh, God forbid
so
you if
don't
you're
look for it,
Googling
Kevin.
yourself.
For the love of God,
Yeah.
stick to your family
yeah.
and your beautiful
Yeah.
art.
The social media, I am getting involved now,
Right.
and I'm like, oh, I have a comment. It's like gambling.
Dude.
It's like gambling, and it's the same rush as gambling.
Please
Dude.
be nice.
It's like if I press on this fucking thing, I'm either gonna win $1 million or go bankrupt.
It is such a gift now.
Right here.
It's such a gift now that we fully expect negativity.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean that. That's a gift, because I remember the first time I saw comments. It was MySpace, it was the day before, or no, I think it went out after. Thank God. But like right when my first time JFL New Faces.
Yes.
We went to that Comedy Works, that one that cool
and
room.
just for the people that don't know, I'm going to fill in the blanks here a little bit. This is so exciting for you.
Oh.
This is like an endorsement. You're like, people are catching on.
Yep.
People like what I'm doing.
Yes.
And you're starting to get the feeling like
Yeah.
most people are getting what you're
and
doing.
you're going to do like 7 minutes.
Yeah.
Everyone's do 7 minutes. And you're just kind of like, this is your Miss America as a young comic. This is you walk out, nail the steps, answer the questions, but it's all comedy. You do a set, you know? I mean, I talk about this. I remember, like, especially because she's had a few moments. She's having a massive one right now.
Yeah.
Nikki Glaser got off stage and was like, I bombed at Montreal. And she didn't bomb.
Sure, no.
But she was like, it's all over.
Because
that's how heavy that shit was.
Wow.
That's because the too much anticipation.
Yeah.
And there's this minute. We've all been there where, like, you're really excited about the show.
Yeah.
And the first joke,
Right.
And then by the third one, you're like, there's no recovering from this.
No.
And this is a bad set. Everything, all the expectations you were thinking of are just like fleeing from your brain. And by the time you get the light, you're like, I fucked up my entire career.
It's over. It's over.
Right.
And it's not. Like, for perspective, I crushed.
Right.
Like, I got off the stage. I still remember just being like so happy, so relieved. But I was also, that was back when I just did silly shit. Something I'm trying to get back to a little bit more now. But like, I also was kind of like, I just didn't care.
Yes.
This is going to be so much fun.
Yeah.
I don't care what. It's going to be so much fun.
Good
And I
for
never
you.
told myself that. That was just something that was in me
You didn't
from
have
the
to
old
tell yourself.
doing dumb plays in college and shit and, doing stuff in Chicago.
Yeah.
But so that I only say but for comparison because they filmed our sets at Comedy Works running that same set the day before and put it on MySpace. We each had our own. Under all of us, every comment was negative.
Oh,
mine,
my God.
it was all, everybody's avatar was like just something colorful and shiny and not their face, but it was like, you suck, dude. Are you kidding me with this? This is the worst fucking thing I ever saw. Like
From
so
Canadians, too.
No.
This is in
MySpace.
Denver. Yeah,
This is
yeah,
the world.
Right. Yeah.
This is everyone.
Yeah.
I'm like, just look at
Everyone.
Oh, like every one of them was like a knife in the heart. It hurt so fucking much. And you're just like, but I thought I did so well.
Well, I hosted this Comedy Central event in San Francisco called Open Mic Fight.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
And I went up. It can be tough taking the bullet at the San Francisco Punchline, in my experience. It has been in the past.
Sure.
I'm going to crush on July 23rd. Don't worry about that. And
Best club ever.
And I remember too, like, you want to talk about panicking? They're like, whatever you do, don't shit on Burger King because it was a sponsor and they had a big cardboard Burger King.
Oh, man.
And I told like 2
can't.
jokes and they were bombing.
Don't press the red button.
And then for a
Just giant red button on stage.
Yeah.
Don't press it.
And then for a tag, I was just like, but hey, man, I'm feeling fit because I'm eating at Burger King. Like, it was just like within 2 minutes of the show, I'm shitting on Burger King. But I wasn't in the contest.
You fuck them.
I wasn't in the contest.
Yeah.
I was hosting for the contest.
Yeah.
And then what they did was they took me and put me on the website as if I was in the contest and didn't win and used my video footage.
Fiendish.
The reason I'm bringing it up
That's
That's savage.
is because I was at your Live at Gotham taping, which I want to get into in a minute.
God.
But I'm
Yeah.
afterwards, I'm having a drink and talking to somebody that worked at Comedy Central, and Tosh hosted your episode of
He
Live
did.
at Gotham.
Yeah.
And he was talking about how he did some, like, kind of like a comedy demo for their investors. And he did kind of the same thing I did with the Burger King thing.
Yeah.
But, you know, they loved him for it.
Sure.
And then I was like, oh, and I brought up the Burger King thing to the Comedy Central person. And then I go, but hey, you put me on the website, like I lost the competition, so I guess we're even. And she just goes, like, we're all having a good time. She just goes, are you talking about real shit right now? Like, she was like, all of a sudden, like,
whoa,
you're out of line, Buster. This is not orthodox at all. And I was just like, and I was just kind of hammered and like all of a sudden like completely anxious. And I go, no.
And that
I'm
sucks
not. Yeah.
because you guys weren't.
We're having a good time.
I used to have a manager of this restaurant I worked at that just be like, "Would you guys do anything fun this weekend?" And people are like, "I did this. Then, oh yeah, weren't you on call that day?" It's like, fucking, are you a detective?
Entrapment,
motherfucker.
Entrapment.
Yes, that was that. That was that.
So live at Gotham.
Dude.
Let's go back to 2008. I suppose.
I was saved 7, I think, but I was saved by the bell. I was saved by a monsoon rainstorm that knocked the power out.
Right.
For some reason in the makeup chair. I used to never get nervous. I just got all of a sudden nervous as shit.
Yeah.
'Cause there's cameras. I had people from college in the audience.
Yes.
I was like, oh no. For some reason, I remember, and the lady being like, "Oh, you're sweaty. Are you hot?"
Oh, no.
While I'm still in the trailer.
Yeah.
And I got on stage and just started going way too fast. and going, shit. And the power went out.
Wow.
And then I was like, oh, and they're like, all right, guys, we're going to start again. And I was like, whoa. And I remember just being like, all right, so Matt's going to do the same jokes. And I was just like, maybe I'll slow down. And like, I got a laugh. And then I was just like, then it was like, yeah, dude, just fucking calm the fuck down.
Yeah.
And then it was like, and I remember, and then I went into the bit again, and there's a joke that I had about going in for a role for when I used to audition for commercials, and I went in and went to this lady and she's a very pretty girl with the clipboard, and I was like, hey, I don't know what they sent me in for. Can you tell me what you're here for? And she goes, yeah, what's your name? Matt Braunger. Oh, you're here for the role of unattractive man.
Right.
And she looked me in the face.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh.
Yeah.
And then so I'm setting that joke up again, and I was like, here for the role of, and the lights go out, and I go, Dracula, the ghost of Dracula, and it got a huge laugh in the darkness.
Yeah.
And it was just like, oh, fuck this. And by then I'm just dancing on stage, and it was like, we're going to get through. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And everyone's rooting for me. And it was like, okay. And it was just like, it's one of those things where I don't know. I don't necessarily believe in that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But it was just like, God, what a stroke of luck.
Yeah.
And Tosh backstage was yelling in this producer's face. And he's like, I don't know what you need. Generators or some shit. But we all saw the fucking weather report. And he's like, I'm not worried about Braunger. He's going to roll with whatever happens. What the fuck are you guys going to do when so-and-so, and he named a musical comic.
Sure.
A comic that played music and sang, gets out there.
Wow.
Like, what are they going to do?
Right.
And I was just like, and it was like, I remember being like really, really touched by that. Being like, that's really cool. Because that's, I don't think he'll care that I said this, but like, Tosh will be a dick to people.
Yeah.
But if he finds out you're a comedian,
yeah,
he's the nicest guy in the world.
Oh, yeah.
You could have you done 2 open mics? Oh, yeah? Where? Okay.
Yeah.
Just a peach.
Yeah.
The nicest guy.
I used to like avoid him when I saw him around.
Sure.
Because like I seen him be like nasty to people.
Of course.
And I'm like, I can't hold up under that.
Yeah.
But then I saw him like kind of seeking me out. Yeah. Like the improv, and I'd be like, oh, I gotta go check my car alarm.
Yeah.
And then the next thing I know, I was touring with him. I'm like, all right, pays to play, hard to get.
It's the thing is, I do comedy. Like, I love comedians.
Yeah.
I think most comedians love comedians, especially the ones that are good. It's like we have that little rivalry, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's not Highlander.
It's
There
like
can
your
be only
family.
one, Yeah.
It's like you might have your little thing with them, but as soon as it comes down to it, we're the group.
Yeah.
We're the group. Don't fuck with us.
And you go up alone.
Yeah.
We all go up alone.
That's the thing.
And so it's it's that thing of like, right. It's almost like I remember hearing an interview with Amy Poehler. She's talking about like anytime someone who was on Saturday Night Live meets another person that was, it's all they talk about.
That's like
because it's
going
just
to college,
shared,
the same college times 10.
Yeah,
because they all been through hell,
and you're being shot at. You know, like like.
So the way I understand it is the competition is insane in that building, and then you're doing live television.
Yeah,
like fuck. I mean, the more the years go on, and the less likely I guess that I'll be on there.
Sure.
The less I'm like, oh, I wish I was on that show.
No,
because it looks like hell to me.
Yeah, it's like I've known a ton of people who've done it. My perspective on it now, from when I was like, a young comic, being like, wow, wouldn't that be the dream? Kind of thing, like very different.
Well,
very different.
Yeah, and also when we were kids,
a lot of positives.
Yeah,
but definitely negatives.
Yeah, when we were kids, it was like one of 4 things you could watch on TV that was comedic and current about current events and stuff like that.
After I was in the last season of Mad TV and it got canceled, I was just doing this random. I did my wife and I were in Las Vegas and we found this show and like we were just getting wasted and like a friend of a friend was like, hey, do you want to go up? And I was like, I'll do a quick set, you know? And I went up there and had a good set. And like, I was talking, there's this kid ahead of me who was like, young black comic, and his impressions were just incredible.
Yeah.
And I don't remember his name. I have not seen him since, but he was like, man, he's like, I'm trying to work my way to move to LA. Like, you know, I want to get on Mad TV like you. And I was like, dude, they canceled that show. And like, the light died in his eyes because right then there were 2 shows.
There was only 2 shows.
There was SNL and Mad, and then they took Mad away. And I was just like, fuck, this poor kid.
Yeah, no.
You know, and it's not like he was like, those are the only 2 shots.
Right.
You can tour. You know, it's like Jay Farrow didn't need SNL, you know, but like, or any other impressionist, you know, James Austin Johnson didn't, you know, that boosted him.
Right.
But like, you watch his videos, you're like, your impressions are fucking incredible. You know, that said, it's like, it'd be nice to get on a show and have a set and all that jazz. And it's just like that poor kid. I'll never forget him just being like, deflating.
I guess I'll go home now.
Dude, it was like the Valentine's episode of Simpsons where Ralph, you choose me. Right. And Lisa rejects him. And he's like, and Bart's like, you can see his heart rip in half. And
right there.
Slow down right there.
It was like frame for frame. It was like a VHS. So your season of Mad TV was like, so different than Saturday Night Live, right? Because there was no studio audience for you.
There was studio audience, but it was like, cut, let's try that again.
Oh, okay.
You know, that kind of...
Right.
You're talking about... It's not exactly this, but I always think about how Al Pacino said, like, film is a line drawn on the floor. Live theater is a tightrope 1,000 feet up. You know, like, it's not that strong of a difference. There were live things. And I remember doing... stuff live that was like, man, that crushed, and then watching on TV and being like, oh, that wasn't as funny as I thought it was. It just felt great in the moment, and it wasn't terrible, but it was totally different.
That was one of your first acting gigs, right?
Like real ones, for sure. Yeah,
and like that must have been really exciting.
The crazy thing was, I kept getting callbacks. And the room kept dwindling. And I remember when I first went in, it was like all these guys from, you know, I don't know if UCB was in town yet, but from Groundlings for sure. And, you know, Improv Olympic and Second City here yet? Anyway, like, or they flew them in or whatever. Right. You know, like they were all, and they'd be like, you were just talking, like, what about you? I'm like, oh, I'm just a stand-up. And they'd be like,
fuck you.
You could see the look in their eyes. Like, you're not going to make it, dude.
It's like showing up to a law firm with a high school education.
Yeah, exactly.
They're like, nah, man.
We're going to Normandy and the fucking thing's going to go down.
Yeah.
And it's just like, what do you have? I got this knife. Found a knife. You need body armor? What is that? I don't know what that is. Oh, kid. Yeah. But the casting people really dug me, and I was like, okay, so I'll work on, you know, a couple little dumb impressions, but I did these really huge characters.
Yeah.
And I remember it was down to me and Eric Andre to test.
Right.
And a couple other people, but I don't remember who it was, but like I just remember me and Eric really hit it off.
Yeah.
And I knew Eric a little bit. And I remember his characters were so nuts, surprise.
Obviously now, right?
But I was just like, fuck. I was just like, you got to hire that guy, man.
Oh.
You got to hire him. But it was because looking at it, outside looking in, like maybe they thought him and, you know, Keegan-Michael Key wouldn't have gone well together. Michael McDonald had left.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, there's your tall white guy.
Right.
That's my spot.
Yeah.
You know, but everybody else, I still look back. Me and Eric Price were the only 2 white dudes, the whole cast.
Oh, really?
You
That's
know?
funny.
It was super diverse.
Yeah.
But it was like, Eric would have added this whole different thing. He had this character.
Eric needs his own show.
He did.
That's why he has his own show.
Exactly.
You know?
And he did this like this homeless character where you just made people really uncomfortable in the audience. And it was like, I'm like, this is too fucking real. He had an overcoat on that he kept buttoned the whole time.
Yeah.
And at one point he just shoved his hand in his pocket and pulled out a handful of like dry leaves.
Right.
And he goes, you want some sun chips?
Right.
And I still will see dried leaves in the fall and go, sun chips.
Yeah, and he does that on the Eric Andre show. Maybe not that exactly.
Yeah.
But there's a whole character where he's always trying, hey, you want a hit of this ranch?
Yeah.
You want these sun chips? Hey, didn't I see you at the 311 concert? Like this total fucking...
Yeah.
And he's in the...
God.
But this version, he's in the rollerblades with the neon.
Yeah.
What's up, Broham?
Yeah.
This is one of my favorite guys of all
dude's
time.
crazy.
And it's interesting because they had, when they did that movie with Lil Rel, it was incredible.
Yeah, it's called Bad Trip.
Bad Trip. Such a great movie.
Yeah.
Like not just a prank.
It's a prank show with a feature narrative built around it.
It's great.
Is that the one with the prisoner on the bus escapes from the bus?
Yes. Yeah, right. And he's and she's asking for help.
Crazy,
it's so good.
Yeah, it's so good.
It's like it's a whole different skill set to mess with the public.
Oh, man.
Like that whole.
I don't have it in me. I can barely help
I'm
the
not
public.
good at
The first gig I ever did was a show called Girls Behaving Badly. And I did this thing, and it was like, this sucks. I hate this so much.
Because you got to do like 8 hours just for 2 minutes,
feel
right?
bad,
Yeah.
you know? I did a thing on Mad TV where I had to act like an anchor man who was doing a man on the street thing, but he thought he had his day off, so he was drunk. So I was like a little bit. So, and I'd put the mic boom like off someone's mouth and shit.
He was on call, like
and
in your bar job.
Hey, and like I'm just like I'm trailing off, and it was like I just felt guilty. You have to kind of negate that shit in you
Absolutely.
to get the thing to make it funny. It's a whole different skill set.
Yeah.
And there's like you have to look it up, but there's a whole thing where they tried to teach Lil Rel because it's like a whole training thing to do that with people like on the street. And he's like, I got it. Don't worry. I don't have the time. I got a family. And Eric's like, dude, no, please do this.
Oh.
And he was like, no. And they the first thing they shot was the two of them with their dicks in the Chinese finger cuffs.
Yeah.
And in Atlanta, and that guy comes out with a straight razor and tries to kill him. And the producer was like, stop. And they were like, undid the glue. Obviously, it wasn't really their dicks.
Sure.
And Lil Rel runs to his trailer, and he's like crying, calling his family. He's like, Eric, I can't do this, man. That guy almost killed us. And the guy said, the barber guy, he's like, if I would have had my gun, you'd all be dead. I would have killed you both.
Right. No kidding.
And he Eric was on the phone with like Tiffany Haddish at the time, and Tiffany's like, "What's going on?" And he told her, and she couldn't stop laughing. And no, I'm fucking it up. Lil Rel called Tiffany, and Tiffany was telling him, and Tiffany's like, okay, what the fuck? And like she's like holding back laughter, and she's like, give the phone to Eric, and she's like, you put me in this movie right now. Right?
Oh, that's so fun.
That's how they got her. That's how she got in the movie.
Crazy.
But it is the point. It's a great story, but the point I only bring it up is because it's a whole different thing.
So there's like a week of training, like going to boot camp, where you have to learn to fuck. You have to like
that's fair.
Get rid of this section of your brain to where you care about other people.
Super random, but I would
get rid of your empathy.
There's an internet show that I was on. I remember I was in Spokane, Washington, and these two guys were talking about just discovering it, and I walked up and I was like, "Hey, it's me, Detective Mathis." There was a show called IKEA Heights.
Yeah.
That my buddy.
That they shot in an IKEA.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was a soap opera, and we had people. My buddy Dave Seeger had people. He created the show. He shot the show. Wrote the show, and he had people who would. Their whole job was to distract IKEA employees, so we could shoot and pick a location.
Oh yeah.
And they'd shoot me. I didn't mess with anyone. We only dealt with actors. It was just using the furniture.
Yeah.
But I've been kicked out of every IKEA in Southern California.
That's so funny.
With the exception of the new one in Burbank because it didn't exist back then.
Right.
But it sucked every time, and it got to the point. It got to the point where the last time cops walked us out, and they're like, "Next time you get arrested."
Right.
They had our pictures in all the offices.
Are there outtakes from this?
They mostly end with you hear a guy going, "Okay, guys, you can't shoot here."
They keep that in.
Yeah.
I've always meant to watch that.
You can't film the cops, but I will say this: if it was like Target, I probably would have been arrested.
Yeah.
But IKEA was so chill; they would issue press releases and go, "We appreciate it. We think it's very funny. We're fans ourselves, but we cannot in any way allow this."
They're probably the biggest
Which I
fans.
understand.
They're probably the biggest
Yeah.
fans. So like what kind of I wish I watched this thing. I've heard so much about it. What kind of things would set off the alarms? Like
Nothing.
were you shouting at each other?
No, well, there was this like I had a thing where there's that thing where all the phones, and I would just be like, "Dad, where? I'm on my way," And I remember at one point, like because I was like Detective Mathis, and I was like this angry cop, and I just be like, "Fucking IKEA Heights," like I hated it. It was my beat, but I hated it for some reason. It was like a terrible neighborhood to me. I was always finding dead bodies.
That's so funny.
And because it started out as like more of a soap opera thing, so you had like Randall Park, and his paramour, like they're just in bed, like just in their underwear, just like talking, like
that's hilarious.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
So like,
so is the premise explained up front when you watch it, or is it explained in the
no,
description?
it just has shots of IKEA.
But you can still hear cops in the background going, "All right,
No, you see shoppers walking around like, while we're acting and shit.
Right.
And people are kind of like, the fuck is this?
Yeah.
Two people are yelling or whatever. But yeah,
so you
just,
became, like you said, you're just a stand-up. You became quite the actor. You have. I didn't watch that. I did some research on you.
Yep.
78 acting roles on IMDb.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that includes
I'll take it.
shorts you've done and everything,
Sure,
but
sure,
that's
sure.
a lot of shit, man.
Yeah.
I even watched a video of you on YouTube where we used to work at the Herald Examiner.
Oh,
He
yeah.
was in a TV show, a Marvel show.
Yeah.
There.
Agent Carter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Agent Carter shot
Yeah,
there?
I'm-
We're cleaning toilets. He's starring in the goddamn
Right.
movie.
He's upstairs. We're like, yeah, I'll change out the bulbs.
We're getting electrocuted and shit.
It's funny to look me up on the Marvel Universe fandom thing because it's every character has like a signature quote.
Yeah.
And like I used to be an old bit of mine, but I forget how it goes. But it's like Captain America's is like we're here to fight for freedom. We fought for blah blah blah, or and fight for human rights. And if you're against that, we'll fight you too. Like kind of a thing. Of
Right,
never give up. Yeah. My character Aloysius Samberly, Dr. Samberly, a scientist, is I'm doing my best.
Nice.
His quote.
That's funny. We actually, believe it or not, starred in like a very unseen video like 21, 22 years ago.
Easy.
Actually, he's another co-host on this podcast, a guy named Brian Irwin.
Oh, yeah.
He was in charge over there and worked over there.
Mm-hmm.
And we shot a show about superheroes joining with the police called Super Precinct.
Nice.
And like there's scenes where he was the captain. I'm like going undercover with Spider-Man, but Spider-Man's got his hat on like this.
Sure.
It's ridiculous to buy drugs or whatever.
That's funny.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
And I just didn't know you did so much. Like I wanted to watch everything you did.
It was one of those wild things because like I was an actor all when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And it's so fucking funny. I can vent a little bit. I went back for this past weekend because I've been watching my kid while my wife's been gone a lot in May. So my wife was like, "Oh, your buddy is helped with like my buddy Zach. He does like a bunch of like multimedia stuff in Portland, internet stuff." And he's helping our old drama teacher at Grant High School, Go Generals in Portland, just had their 100th anniversary of their performing arts department, which I started out in, which was huge. They had a huge department for a high school. And if you've seen Mr. Holland's Opus, that's my high school.
Oh, wow.
So, and he said to Mr. McDonald, Bruce McDonald, I love you. I don't think you'll ever hear this, but genius director and stuff. But Zach was like, do you want Braunger to do, like, because people would send in videos and stuff. And he's like, no, I think we have enough. And I watch this shit and I'm like, there's a guy who's like a comedian I've never heard of. Congrats on 100 years. I'm like, dude, I'm top 10 at least, maybe top 5.
Right.
There's Beverly Cleary, sure.
Right.
There's Indomitian Suh, for sure. Damon Stoudemire,
right.
Yeah. Suzanne Summers.
Yes, that's big.
I could be fucking 5. I could be 5.
Yeah. These all people went to
I've
your high school?
Yeah. My high school. Where I'm just like, dude, show me a little love.
Right.
So it's like, but it was that thing. I went to the show. The show was awesome. Had all this incredible history in it, stuff I did not know, and especially like watching the dance group there now, the dance department, which there was no dance department as a kid. It was cheerleaders.
Right.
And so it was like this. It was incredible, and they did all this decade by decade thing.
Yeah.
So it was like really dope to see like 80s and 90s, my era. But it was that thing of like, you kind of recognize as you get older, you have to kind of like let the ego go. You have to go like, fuck this.
Very important. If you want to be
5-6 years ago, I would be livid.
Sure.
I might be posting about that shit. But it's just like, really, do I want? This is not a live broadcast. This is for an auditorium of people who love this school.
It's
a couple of them looked over at me and were like, hey,
Yeah.
Felt great. But so it's like this thing of, but point is, I was always an actor.
Right.
And then I found improv in Chicago, which I liked, but I found stand-up, which I love.
You fit,
and stand-up became...
I get the impression you fit in with a lot of comics.
Yeah,
too.
and it became kind of I feel like the hardest thing to do in this job or this business is to pick the lock. How do you get in the door? Not necessarily to make it, but just like to be steady, to get anything.
Yeah, anything.
And literally stand-up got me everything. Because it got me noticed, and then it got me a rep, and then it got me like a representative, like a manager and agent at the time. But it was that thing of, I remember being on my first acting gig in LA, which was a 7-Eleven ad for SpongeBob SquarePants Slurpee. I'm in a glass bottom boat with some actors and a little kid.
Yeah.
And I see SpongeBob and I'm like, whoa, like I make a face.
Sure.
You know? And I was a principal, like I had like 1 or 2 lines or something. And I remember talking to this older woman on the thing and being like, you know, and she'd be like, are you having a good time? And I was like, oh yeah, you know. And she's like, what's up? And I'm like, I just wonder if this will happen again. She's like, honey, some people get nothing. And I was like, fucking A, lady.
Yeah.
It's like she literally was like an angel.
Craig, yeah,
It's like-
Craig had a similar experience, kind of, sort of, where like he called his agent. He's like, they want to do more stuff with me.
Oh.
And what did the guy say?
My first gig, a Taco Bell commercial.
Okay.
Booked 2 spots in a spec.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought, yeah,
Great.
oh shit. 3 days, and my agent called around lunch because he figured this guy's kind of a moron.
You were new to acting.
I was so new
You
to
lucked
everything.
into some Taco Bell.
I mean, when I went into it's CESD, they're a pretty big.
I used to be with them.
Okay.
That was my first commercial
Oh, so you know
agency.
David.
Yeah.
David Ziff. So
Yeah, I remember David
So
Ziff.
David calls me because like when I first went in, I gave him my headshots, and they were my friend took the pictures. He goes, "Did your mom take these?" And I was,
You just
like,
had no clue.
I had 0.
Oh.
Yeah,
you did
yeah.
better than most, just like that
Yeah.
woman told him.
Yeah.
Some people have nothing.
So he calls me about lunch, and he's like, "How's it going?" And I go, "Dude, the producers just came out. They love me. They said this thing's gonna air all summer, and I'm gonna make a ton of money." And he just goes, "Hey, pump the brakes." He goes, "You're gonna make $1,500, and that's it." He goes, "If it goes bigger than that," he goes, "awesome." He goes, "So before you run out and buy a Porsche,"
Yeah. It's true.
he goes,
He's right.
"I need you to chill out."
He's right.
And he was right. They never aired it.
I had
They never
that.
aired it.
I had that. I did a commercial for like, I think it was Progressive Insurance before they had Flow, and it was like me and my TV wife were like in bandages and crutches. We were dancing on a car wreck.
Yeah.
And I was like, they're never gonna, you
Yeah.
know, like really. And it was
Right.
Kenny Mayne, that the sports announcer, was that his name?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. He was like, I was like, okay, so we have a famous guy
Right.
doing like narration and
Yeah.
stuff. But I was like, I remember getting that letter and being like, and I was with CSD, and I was like, the fuck? And it's like, it won't air, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And I called, and it was like a different agent. It wasn't David, but I was like, hey, just want to let you know. And I wasn't like, I was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
But she was like, that's how it goes sometimes, you know. So, like she was like, she was so like, that's how the cookie crumbles,
Yeah,
dumb
yeah,
to me.
yeah,
I was like,
yeah,
Jesus.
yeah.
You know, I was just like, I just want to confirm.
I'm just
and
trying
tell
to
you.
figure out what's going on here.
And granted, I should have just crumpled up and thrown it away and
Of
gone,
course, right.
shit. But
Yeah.
you know,
Right.
but yeah,
Right.
it's
Your life is the same either way, whether you call her or not.
I will. Here's something like, and not that was, you still made money and I still got paid for the day
Right.
on that thing, which is great. But to this day, like, I go, oh yeah, like, yeah, William Shatner's a dick, because I never met him, but I remember Bobby Lee telling me 100 years ago, like they were doing some Shatner thing or something. It might have been Mad, and like and I brought it up to him recently. He's like, oh, I can't believe you fucking remember that story. But Bobby booked his first ad, and it was for Priceline or whatever that Shatner was doing. So they flew him to Vancouver, and it's like, do they fly you somewhere? You feel so fucking special.
Oh, yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
You're like, holy
Yeah.
shit.
It's never coach. It's never a middle
I
seat.
no. I remember I got like, hey, you want to do this guest role of this wacky asshole on the Michael J. Fox show? I'm like, you fucking kidding me? Yes.
Yeah.
And they flew me to New York 2 separate times. I was like, I feel like a king.
Yeah, it's awesome.
This is amazing. So that first feeling, you're like, wow, this never happened before. And his first gig, and he lands, and he, gets to the hotel, puts stuff away, nice hotel, and then they pick him up in a van and they drive him to set. And then he's in there, and the director's just talking to you. So what we're thinking is this, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, okay, yeah, man, whatever you need. I'm just, thanks so much for it. And he's like, no, you're great, And then William Shatner walks in, and the director's like, hey, Bill, this is Bobby. I'm so excited for you guys to work together. William Shatner doesn't even look at Bobby. He just goes, we don't need him anymore. Listen, I have an idea.
Oh my God.
I have an idea. Come here.
No
Come here.
way.
Come here. And the director's like, what? And the director's like, hey, listen, Bobby, I'll talk to you 1 second. Just, if you want to just go out there. And he's like, so what happens is, it's just me. And then, or whatever.
Yeah.
And then the director comes out and he goes, I am so fucking sorry,
Yeah.
man.
Wow.
I'm so sorry. You know, it's like they probably still paid him for the day contractually.
Sure.
Of course.
But just
that flight back isn't as exciting.
and the worst thing about it to me is
Oh
like
my
we don't need him
God.
without looking.
Yeah.
It's like I'm a human man.
Right.
Look at my face.
Spock, we must fire the guy from Mad TV.
That's so awful.
We got to go to our.
Who's the small Asian man?
It reminds me of Sulu. George Takei. We got to go to our movie reviewer. I just want to ask you really quick.
Yes.
I looked on your IMDb. Fuller House. Good experience? Surreal experience? Good
The
experience?
best. The best.
Who did you work with?
I worked with oh my god, Cameron,
Yeah,
what's her name? First name.
Kirk Cameron's sister.
Yes, and she was a joy. And she recorded a message for my sister-in-law. Yeah, Candace.
Candace Cameron.
She just this on the one. Look at your phone. Her name's Ashley. Just did this perfect fucking thing. Just hi, I want to say
That's
hello.
awesome.
You know, Jodie Sweetin.
Yeah.
I will always love Jodie Sweetin
Yeah.
because she was in my pilot Braunger.
No kidding.
At Comedy Central.
That's
And-
great.
Well, this is dark. She wasn't. She was our choice, my choice, Kyle's choice.
Yeah.
It was like our thing, and Comedy Central just kept shooting her down and
Yeah.
made us hire somebody else. That it was
Right.
like, but she was like one of those people who just smacked it out of the park. We brought her in
Yeah,
like 5
yeah,
times,
yeah.
where we were begging the executives
These
to
are
hire
two
her.
people.
Wow.
So she came in. She
Yeah.
came in to audition.
Right.
Didn't need that shit.
Right.
And so when they brought that back, and it was, I remember talking to one of the producers on Fuller House about those two women and how dope they were, and he's just like, yeah, they have perfect comic timing developed since they were kids.
I was just about to say that.
And he's like, they never step on you. They reacted bang right to everything.
Wow.
Knew the face, knew that jazz. It was a joy, and also the most security I've ever been around.
That's great.
No, I mean like
Oh,
like
security people, yeah.
security.
I thought you meant
That
secure
kind.
with their
no,
emotions.
No. They were great.
You can never have that.
No, of course. It's showbiz. There's always a frosting of anxiety on this
Yeah,
cake.
yeah,
We'll break
yeah,
you
yeah.
down.
No,
Delicious.
I would leave the soundstage and go to my trailer and come back, and the same guys would be like, "Hey, whoa!" Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
It's crazy
gotta-
because I guess
yeah.
they have such rabid fans.
Oh, sure.
People would find out where the soundstage
People
was.
think those people
Jeez.
are their friends because they
Yes.
grew up with them in the background.
That's
they think
it.
they know all this stuff.
That's it.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's nuts. But yeah, that was like the most fun 2-3 days or whatever ever. Yeah, I played like a psycho dodgeball coach. So
Awesome.
what's not to like?
That's so great. That's such a surreal thing.
Yeah.
Like, if someone even told you about that
Yeah.
when you were first starting to get into this,
Yeah.
you'd be like, so what? Full House is going to come back and I'm going to be on it?
I was
Excuse me.
thinking about I was on Man with a Plan with Matt LeBlanc, and I was
yeah.
like, why does this guy still do TV?
Sure.
He could
Right.
just fly around the world in a golden jet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Friends is always on.
Always.
There's
It's on
always
right now.
money coming in.
People
Right.
are
But he-
watching it while they're listening to this.
But he's just a
With the
stone
sound
bro.
on.
He just loves doing it.
Yeah.
And people love him. And it was just like he was an awesome guy.
Yeah.
It was just like, okay.
Yeah.
It's you know, it's not like these people are working in finance and, or they come up with some dumb app and sell it and
If
Right.
you're,
it's like they're doing what they love.
Not
yeah,
Yeah.
if you're lucky enough to get successful,
Yeah.
everybody kind of most people want to keep going. Some people are like, fuck this shit.
Yeah.
And if even the people in the Nickelodeon documentary are like, I'd still like to act.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen that, but it's pretty horrific.
That's what
what happened to some of these kids.
I was talking about that.
Yeah.
Like that. I have a bit that I did about Quiet on the Set. 'cause
Yeah,
I was
right, Quiet on the
iCarly,
Set, yeah.
And yeah, it's the weirdest. It was the weirdest thing because basically I just did a joke for social media. And I'm sure it will
Yeah.
have been up by now by the time this airs. But it's basically like that guy after the show. And I remember I read I'm Glad My Mom Is Dead. It's a Jeanette McCurdy book.
Oh, yeah.
It's one of the funniest memoirs I've ever read in my life.
Nice.
And she's just so real and so.
Who is she again? I'm sorry.
She was the blonde on.
She was the
blonde
friend.
girl on iCarly. Like.
Oh, okay. All right.
Carly's
yeah.
friend.
Okay.
Who would like swing a sock around and hit people and stuff. And she talked about how much she hated it. She hated being an actor, and her mom
Yeah.
wanted to be an actor. So she was literally like stage mom's daughter. So when she had a chance, she was fucking out, like done. But she talks about how that guy, tried to give her like, one drink, trying to give an underage girl an old fashioned at like lunch.
No,
Jeez,
thanks.
No,
Like
dude.
an alcoholic's drink.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
such
like
a,
she's not Don
Grandpa,
Draper.
Have
you
a
know?
rusty nail. Yeah. No, it's real smooth. But like, and that she said that guy like would like compliment you sincerely and look at you like this, and then later would just crush your dreams. That's how he
Sure.
controlled people.
Yeah.
And like I haven't watched that documentary, but I basically say on stage that guy after we shot was like, "You're a real actor.
They
You're
suck
a good
you in.
actor. You're great." And so I basically go, all I'm saying is he's not that bad. Guys, he's the dumbest shit. But it's great because everyone's so quiet and like
Yeah.
that before. And then when I say he's not that bad, he was like,
Right.
it's just like, why are you talking about this? But even through all that shit he put them through, it's like they wouldn't, people want to be seen and be famous and shit,
Yeah.
but it's,
But they're also
when you have like a scene with someone and it just you smash it together, it's just like the best feeling. It's like
the
crushing
best-
on stage.
It's the best drug in the world.
Yes.
And they're kids too, so they
Yeah.
don't know. Adults are always right when you're a kid. So if an adult
Yeah.
wants to do something stupid, it's a good idea because they're an adult.
That's why it's the worst thing in the world.
Yeah,
What
but
that guy did,
small upside, these actors you work with knew how to fucking act.
They're great.
Because they did it since they're 12. I still go on an audition. I'm like, hi, everybody.
Same.
Matt Fulcher.
Same.
I think that's how you pronounce
I'll
it.
walk out and go like, you screwed the pooch.
Uh-huh.
That
Yeah,
sucked.
yeah, yeah.
Hated
yeah.
on that.
Right.
Speaking of
You're like,
Matt's acting career, in another job I used to have,
yeah.
worked on some of the middle.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I snapped, as a comedy fan, I snapped this shot.
Hey,
That's
there's me.
so funny.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking
with the Julie Brown.
Julie Brown.
Yeah, not downtown Julie Brown.
Right.
But Julie Brown, I like him big.
The
and-
other one on MTV.
I like him big and stupid.
Right.
Remember that song?
Yeah, I remember her. The weirdest part is like,
She was great.
Aaron's like, I got something from Matt's acting career, and I'm going, what acting career? Like I thought he was talking about me.
Sorry.
Like I did one indie film that never came out, and something I really got to take off YouTube. Is
Wendell's ready.
Wendell's ready? Okay, cool. Let's talk to him. Yo, it's Bucket Hat Wendell.
Oh, with the crowbar.
Oh, come on, dude. We don't do props.
We're doing prop comedy now? Jesus.
See, because
One
here's
of my neighbors was doing some plumbing. Had to be persuaded otherwise.
I got
God.
so excited. I posted this thing. I go, I finally got something that's going to work on social media because I'm not into comments and everything, right? But I go, there's controversy, Matt, on our podcast.
Okay.
People like the older, angry Wendell better than the new, nice Wendell. And so what I tried to
Okay.
do was, in the comments, let us know if you like angry Wendell or nice Wendell. And no one fucking commented.
That's a thing.
So I've got it pinned, and if anybody wants to comment. So you're jumping the gun. No one's voted yet.
Well, I watched that episode last night, our last episode, and I saw that you guys were talking about that before I came on. So, of course, I had to go get my crowbar out of the back room.
Sure.
And pretend that I had. My neighbor really is doing some plumbing over there, but thankfully he showed up in the afternoon, and I didn't have to lose my shit and get all pissed off from being woken up.
Well, on
so
one
maybe
level,
he has the same schedule I do.
on one level, I'm really happy that you actually do have the crowbar, because it means these stories are real.
Yeah, right.
On
Well,
the-
no, I mean,
on the
I
other-
didn't buy this crowbar so I could attack people.
I thought.
Just to clarify.
See, you buried the lead because you put on that bucket hat, which is all we can see, and then I see the top of that crowbar. It looks gold. It looks like you have like a pimp cane or something. So I thought like you were doing a whole character. Besides
Oh.
Corey Hart.
No, I just found this hat the other day and I hadn't worn it for a while. I was like, you know what, I'm going to put this on, look
Yeah.
like a douchebag for a few minutes. It doesn't even fit. It's hurting my head to have it on right now.
Do you want
actually.
to switch hats, or do you want to do a scene from Gilligan's Island? We got a real actor here.
Let's
We got
do
the
scene from
skipper.
Gilligan's Island.
Reboot.
No, yeah. For those that don't know, the reason I had this crowbar, to join Local 80 Grips Union, you have to have certain tools. One of them is a crowbar. One of them is channel lock pliers. There's numerous other things, and so you're required to have this in your tool bag on set if you go to work on a union show.
All right.
And
That's why I
so,
have-
Matt, you don't know this. He actually threatened his neighbor with the crowbar at one point.
Yeah.
And so that was just handy in your trunk with the rest of your tools?
Yeah, it was just in the back of my truck because I used to keep all my tools in the back of my truck when I was doing film work.
As one does.
All right. What movie are you going to review for us this week?
I've seen a couple things, and you might have talked about this already, so I have a backup if you don't want to talk about it.
No.
I happened.
This ain't choose your own adventure. Give me the movie. Pick the one you want to talk about.
Well, it's not a movie. I got on Netflix and watched the roast of Tom Brady, and it was really funny. But I don't know if that's something you want to talk about or not.
No, I don't need a review of that. That's been reviewed for
Okay.
weeks now. Everybody gave it a thumbs up.
I didn't know when it came out. It was new to me.
Okay.
Okay.
You
That's
missed.
fine.
We're comics, so all we heard about was the Netflix is a joke festival.
I know.
Like every day,
That's
all
why I
day,
was
every day.
Hesitant.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
good.
why I was hesitant.
Good thinking. What do you got? What else you
Yeah.
got? Hulu is a riddle.
That's the perfect movie for this week. I finally got a chance to see that new Civil War movie, and since Trump got indicted,
Oh, my God.
and a felon, he's a convicted felon now. I figured that's where we're headed, so it was the perfect
Oh
movie
my
to watch
God.
this week.
See, I gotta stop you right there though. The more people say there's gonna be a civil war, the more likely there is going to be a civil war, and people are already shooting places up. So like, chill with that shit.
And I also,
man.
no, but like, I don't think it's fine to pontificate, to wonder. I don't see it happening. I think the people that were going to start the whole do the Civil War are like, there's a veteran guy that I follow online, and he was just like, they're all yap, no slap.
Well,
because it's in no small part because of what happened to all the people that busted in during the insurrection.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to lose contact with their families for 4 to 40 years, like a lot of these guys.
Right.
Yeah, they like him, but they don't like him like him.
Based on this dude being like, I didn't get what I wanted, storm the fuck. It's like, okay, I need a little more incentive than this.
Fool me once.
Right.
Like, do I have a guaranteed get out of jail if I join your war?
Right,
you know?
right.
A couple of those people are like, 4 years? Oh, shit. There goes the fucking real estate company.
Yeah, it's a lot,
Yeah,
man.
I mean, they're lucky. They're lucky more than didn't get. I mean, like, they didn't catch everyone on that video.
I
They
know,
didn't
I
find
know.
Everyone.
Well-
They're real. Some of those people are fucking lucky.
Yeah.
Can't arrest everybody.
You know,
We all do it at the same time.
All right. Well, okay.
All right.
What are we going to talk about? So
Okay.
let's talk about Civil War, which I'll start for you. The good thing, in vein of what I was saying about Civil War, I've seen it. I took an edible before I saw it. Bad idea.
Wow.
We'll get into that later.
Okay.
Is that they're not specific about who's on what side. There's no details that lead up to the Civil War.
Right. I
which-
haven't seen it, and I knew that. There's
Thank
no
God.
way.
Thank God.
Like, I couldn't be on the marketing team and be like, wait, who does it side with?
Right,
Well, Jesus.
Right.
We lost half the country right there.
Yeah. It's good because it's just gonna. I watch that movie and I go, this would be absolutely horrible, and it's already happening in other countries, and they're already shooting places up every weekend. This is fucked up. But there's a lot of people that would look at it and be like, goddamn right, let's do it.
Yeah.
No, you're right. And Kirsten Dunst even brings that up in the movie. You know, she's the star of the movie, and she's like, yeah, she's been to all these war-torn countries as a frontline embedded reporter with different factions, and she's seen the most horrific things ever. And she even says in the movie, she's like, that's why I did this and sent these pictures and stories back to the U.S. so that we wouldn't do this.
Yeah.
You know?
Wow.
So that's basically the premise. There's a unspecific American Civil War in which California and Texas are on the same team in the Western Alliance or something like that.
So that makes no sense.
No sense.
But
But that's part of the fun.
That's what I love about it.
Yeah, me too.
I love
Me
about
too.
it. The surfers and the cowboys have joined
Yes.
hands. Wait a minute.
We're doing it for tacos.
Hold on. Hold on.
Yeah. The
both
war
have
on
a
Mexican
close-
food has begun.
Yeah.
Wendell, what do you got?
It's not
What do you
waste
got?
iron glassy over here and stand there and tone, son.
Okay. All right. I like a West Virginia accent on a Texas person.
I'm not a talented actor or anything.
Yeah, we're
I used to do
riffing.
extra
Leave
work,
one
and
alone.
That's as good as it gets for me.
All right, your fellow actor has saved you once again.
Disclaimer.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Improv is a safe place.
Yes, sir.
Yes, and. I'm sorry, Matt. What do you got? What's up with this movie?
So the basis, that's the basis of the movie. It's her and this other actor. I don't remember his name. He's they're reporting. They starts out in New York, and their whole objective is to get to D.C. to interview the president, who happens to be Nick Offerman, who is an awesome actor.
Pretty great.
Before the Western forces can get to DC and take him out or take over DC and whatnot, right? So that's the basis of the movie, and they come across all kinds of crazy people, like the dude with the red glasses in the trailer that you saw. And
is it Jesse Plemons?
Really terrifying,
he's the best,
dude. He is nobody's better at being quietly terrifying than
Yeah.
Plemons.
Every single role.
Oh,
yeah.
There's one movie where he goes home and like, this is what every indie movie's about, where he leaves New York City to go visit home, his small town.
Yeah.
And they're like, so how's New York? And he's just like, it fucking sucks. But he doesn't say that. There's a million indie movies like that. That's the only one where he's not secretly a homicidal maniac.
Yeah, even in that
Yeah.
Game Night, that comedy one, you're like, oh, that was my
Yeah.
neighbor that was just constantly stroking the cat, and, like
Yeah.
breaking down like procedure.
But
yeah.
he started his career as like this really nice guy indie rocker on Friday Night Lights.
Friday Night Lights.
Yeah.
yeah. Mhm. Sorry, go ahead, Wendell.
yeah, no, that's great. No, yeah. So I mean, I like the acting and stuff. I mean, it's really like, I don't know that much about reporters who are embedded with, armies and shit. But I mean, fuck, you watch some of this movie and you're just like, how the fuck are these people taking pictures of this shit that's happening right in front of them, risking their lives, almost getting shot, sometimes getting shot? Like, it's just fucking crazy that you would put yourself on the line like that to get these pictures and stories. They got more balls than me, but that's just crazy.
Dude,
And that's
I mean, this is coming from a guy with a crowbar in his hand. So
Yeah, well, hey. He works at the airport.
No, I mean,
this crowbar ain't gonna dodge bullets.
It's
for me,
funny
so,
though. Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
war reporters, the balls get no bigger,
yeah.
no bigger.
Seriously.
than
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Like, it's like shit. You don't even have a gun.
That's pretty
And this
crazy.
this movie
Yeah.
in the Vista Theater with an edible, without
should've.
earplugs, will terrify you of modern guerrilla warfare.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know if it had this effect on other people. I was shell shocked. My wife was too. We were like really freaked out by it.
I can't. That's the thing. I stopped getting high and going to see movies
Yeah,
in like
good
probably
job.
20s. Yeah, because I would just get too fucked. Like,
Yeah.
it'd be in my head too much.
Yeah.
Like it's that thing where I can't. I don't know.
I actually walked out of the same theater 25 years ago. I was watching Lord of the Rings and I couldn't get through the Hobbit scene.
Oh yeah.
I was like, it's too crowded in here. I gotta
Yeah,
get-
no, 100%. And then as soon as you imagine the smell,
Yeah,
the
right.
smell inside all the homes in the Shire, you're like,
Yeah.
I can't.
I can't.
man.
Their feet alone.
Yeah, the orcs coming out of the ground. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, it's
I'll
like
catch-
a butthole.
I'll catch the sequel.
I
Thank you
can't.
very much.
It's got to be musty.
So, Wendell, we got to run. What are you giving this movie?
I mean, it was terrifying and stuff, but it other than that, it wasn't a great movie or anything
okay.
by any stretch of the imagination.
Okay.
If you're looking to be terrified at a hopefully not possible future, maybe 3 ice cream trucks at the most.
Or take an
Everyone did
edible
a
and go
great job.
anywhere. I'm sorry, 3 ice cream trucks.
So-
What else you said?
Yeah, probably 3 at the most. I
Okay.
can give it.
Okay.
I'll give it. It's on the level of about 3.5 for me, but don't even
Yeah.
watch it because in my heart it's a 1. In my critical eye, it's a 3.5. It's very well done. It scares the shit out of you.
I had
Right.
when I went home to Portland a couple weeks ago, it had just come out, and my buddy, who's basically like married to my cousin, longtime partner, he was like, oh, I gotta talk to my mom. We were all just like getting a beer, and he walked outside, and he was outside forever, and then he came back, and he's like, ugh. She just saw Civil War. She's kind of like a right winger, and she's just talking his face like, "It's coming, Chris.
Oh,
It's
God.
like,
Yeah,
oh,
be ready.
God,
I hate that.
no,
I hate that
please.
talk.
Be ready.
Yeah.
All right, that's going to do it for the Full Charge Power Hour. Thank you so much, Wendell. Thank you so much to special guest Matt Braunger.
Thank you, buddy.
And patreon.com/the full charge. See ya.
Peace out, fam.
There you guys.
See ya.